Are you tired and frustrated trying to find a new home or a condo in Cebu? Maybe starting to get just a little bit annoyed, or maybe you're already completely frustrated and annoyed with the whole process. Are you a little bit confused about how to make this process go smoothly and work out well for you instead of causing you stress, confusion, and endless hours of wasted time? The process of buying a new home is one of the most important steps in your life, and it's essential that this process doesn't become a nightmare or a disaster. Here are just a few of the things that can happen while searching for a new home in Cebu, right here in Cebu, Philippines, and these are from my own real-life experiences. First, you go on the internet and you start looking for properties that match what you're looking for, and right there you're going to be kind of disappointed with the information that you're finding and the quality of the design of the websites and the accuracy of the information and your ability to easily contact someone who knows what's going on with the properties and the hassle of having to go to numerous different websites and contact many different people and start calling different agents. Well, you're going to need to find the right size, the location, the style, the features, and of course, the right price range. Have you ever noticed that sometimes people just don't listen to you when you tell them your price range? You need to find out how much you will need to pay as a down payment and how much are going to be the monthly payments if you're using financing. At first it might be kind of fun and exciting, and that's how it should be, but maybe you find that it's hard to know from the photos and information which is really the right home or condo to take the time to actually go see in person, because this is going to take up some valuable time and you don't really want to spend an entire day or even many days or weeks looking at properties that just aren't the right ones for you. You may have to spend many hours over several days or weeks just searching. When you see something that you do like, maybe you write down what information you have and call the number on that website to schedule a showing. It's very likely that you might have several different properties you want to see, and maybe you found them on different websites and you end up with appointments over several days or weeks to look at properties with several different agents. The last thing that you want is for some annoying, pushy sales agents to start calling you, trying to sell you a property that is totally not what you want. And you really want to avoid having more than one agent involved if at all possible. Once I had an agent with a prominent company insist on showing me a property, and it ended up taking most of an entire day to have me drive my own rental car all the way to a remote area outside the city. And I kept asking him, why are we going to look at this property when I specifically said I'm looking for something in the city? He just kept saying, well, you have to go see this property. And when I got there, the property was a small beach hut, even though I had clearly explained that I was looking only for a spacious 2-story, 200 or 300 square meter house in the city. And this is not that. And it was literally a hut. It was a one-room hut. And obviously there's no way I'm going to actually move into a hut as my primary residence. Later that agent called me asking for compensation for his time because he had spent time showing me this place after I didn't buy or rent anything using his services. Now, don't you think it's a little bit ridiculously inconsiderate to have wasted my limited time? And do you think that this person cared somehow or was really interested in helping me to get what I want when I only had a few days on that scouting trip to look for a home and to show me a property only because he wanted to sell it, I guess? Not because it was what I was looking for. Maybe you've had some kind of a similar experience, and if you've been looking at properties in the Cebu area, maybe you've had dozens of experiences like this. Once I found a house that I absolutely fell in love with, and it was perfect. It was my dream house. It was just a small, modest house, but it was kind of ideal for what I was looking for at the time. So I decided to take it, and when I decided to take it, the agent that I was working with contacted the seller and her listing agent. So now there are already 2 agents involved. Then I found out later that the agent who had listed this property just used my offer to call her other client, who was still thinking about getting the same house but hadn't taken action yet. And you see, she was more interested in helping that person to get the house, using me to motivate that person so that she could get the full commission and not have to split the commission with this other agent. And that's really what it was all about. She just used my offer to get him to take action so that she would get full commission, and no one was really interested in me getting what I wanted. Has that sort of thing ever been your experience? Have you ever noticed that no one working with you is really interested in helping you to get what you want? It was really all about which agent is in control of the situation and who gets paid, and I'm not in control at all. The person who is actually planning to put up the money for any transaction that's going to happen here, no one is really interested in what I want. Well, once you start looking for a house or a condo to buy or even to rent, many people will start popping up out of the woodwork and will start trying to show you properties. I'm sure you may have experienced this if you've looked for properties in Cebu or anywhere in the Philippines. Some of these people are not licensed agents, but are just looking to get in between you and a seller somehow in order to try to collect a commission. Everyone's a real estate agent here. If they think that you might be looking for a property, they'll just pop up from everywhere and say, oh, I have something that you need to go look at. Sometimes it's a taxi driver or a relative or a friend, or if you have a business, it can be one of your employees that immediately finds out you're looking for something and they're trying to show you a property. Once I searched for months to find a new house to rent, and finally I decided on a house that I really liked. But when I decided to move in this house and look back over the history of how many times I had looked at it with different people, there were 4 different people who had claimed to have introduced me to the house. When I'm actually trying to get moved into the house and settle the signing of the lease, I discovered that there was a big conflict over who was going to get paid and who was my agent. And there were several people trying to act as my agent and collect a commission from the seller. It was a very awkward, embarrassing, and frustrating situation to be in. Believe me, there is a much better way to do this. You can find just the right home without going on a wild goose chase, being hassled, annoyed, and deceived. It's really not necessary to go through all this stress and frustration during what should be the most enjoyable process of finding your ideal new home. If you're looking for a new home or a condo in Cebu, this video will save you many hours and days of valuable time and also help you to avoid a lot of unnecessary stress and frustration and possible disaster that can often happen during this process. In the U.S. and other countries, buyers are served by their own professional agents who work for them to help them to find any home they want and represent their interests rather than those of the seller, because a lot of people just don't realize what's even happening in the process of looking for a property, that when you contact an agent, that agent is normally representing primarily the seller, and they have what's called a fiduciary responsibility to the seller, which can result in things like if there's something that was previously damaged in the house, well, the seller and the agent don't want you to know about it, and sometimes they won't disclose things to you that you might really need to know. But if the agent is working for you, their primary interest should be that they want you to be happy over the long term and to refer your friends and associates to work with them also, and they want you to find the right property for you, and they want you to be happy after you buy the property and satisfied that you made the right choice. Contacting many agents for each property you're interested in creates a conflict of interest that can cause a tremendous waste of time for the buyer and can cause major problems for the person who should be the most important person in this process, which is you. Think about it. You are the one person involved in this process whose desires and needs need to be met. Who is looking out for your interests? An agent who is an employee of a developer or working for the seller? I'd say certainly not. If you walk into, for instance, a developer's showroom, a lot of people don't really realize what's happening here also, but they're going to ask you to sign in when you go there, and if you come back with a different agent later, then they're going to claim that that agent wasn't the one who introduced you to the property and so forth. And it's just a useless dog-eat-dog kind of conflict between the agents, which really doesn't have anything to do with serving you at all, and only ends up making you feel awkward and embarrassed if you've taken the time of an agent to go show you properties and then they don't end up getting paid or something like that. So what I would encourage you to do is, first of all, don't ever walk into a developer showroom without first meeting with your own agent, who's going to be your buyer's agent through the entire process and help you to find any property at any developer's tower or condominium project or a single family home, house and lot type of real estate, anywhere that you're interested in finding something. And that way this agent can actually help you and can actually guide you through the process of selecting the right property for what you're really interested in, rather than just trying to get you to sign some papers immediately without even caring about what you're looking for. You're the one who is looking to buy a property, and it's your interests that are most important, not those of the agent and not those of the seller. Which is another thing about the mindset of how business is done in the Philippines, is that mostly people have the belief that the person who has the property or the person who has the company is in complete control and you have to do whatever they say. Well, that's just not true. You don't have to do what they say. You can find whatever property you want, first of all, and you don't have to buy anything, so you're the one that's in control. Did you know that you can use our VIP buyer service and that there is no cost to you to get a VIP treatment and have a professional meet with you, find out exactly what you're looking for, and help you through the entire process, regardless of which property you want to buy? What a revolutionary idea, and I would estimate that this idea will take about 50 years at least to fully catch on in this country. It's a much better way to do things, and you deserve to have someone working for you instead of many people working for themselves and fighting each other. Don't waste another minute going about things the ridiculous hard way. When you register to use our extensive listing search engine, you can now receive our VIP home buyer service absolutely free of charge. So that's another thing to keep in mind. You're not even going to have to pay anything to have this service, as long as you have professional courtesy and respect for the person that you're working with, and make sure that they end up being compensated by the seller because they are your agent. There's one way that you could do things that's going to waste so much time and cause you so much stress and headaches and hassles, and there's another way doing the same thing. It's not going to cost you anything more, and it's going to be much smoother and easier and just an entirely much more pleasant experience. After you meet with one of our agents who is thoroughly trained in how to provide professional service that you need, you can work with one agent only and view any property that's available for sale. Our agents are thoroughly trained to provide professional service to you to help you find exactly what you're looking for and not to sell you something for their own benefit. A few people are afraid to put their name and email and phone number into the login for our site because they're just not familiar with us yet, and they don't want to receive spam or get unwanted phone calls from some annoying sales agent, and that's totally understandable. But after watching this video and discovering the truth, most people quickly realize that this is the very way to avoid these things and the many other problems described earlier. So what should you do next? Just go to bestcebucondos.com if you're not already there, and when you begin your search, enter your name, email, and phone number in the registration form. And it's important to put in your valid email and valid phone number if you would like us to send you information and give you a call back to schedule a meeting. So when you go to our site, you're going to see on the left side a search box, and this is one of the ways that you can quickly begin the search process. Here you can choose what location you're looking for and the category, type of property, and the maximum price range that you're looking for. After you register for the site and get to the next step, you're going to see some additional search features. Next, it's going to bring up this page, and on the left-hand side, when you click on the View Result button, this is going to show the result of your search. If you haven't already registered on our site, a quick and simple registration box is going to appear, and you can just put in your first name, last name, email, and phone number and click the free instant access button. If you've already registered and this box comes in, you can just click on the sign in button, and you can sign in with your name and email every time that you return to use our mini services on this site. Whenever you're ready, we'll help you get started making sure that your home buying experience goes smoothly and exactly as planned without unnecessary stress and frustration. We look forward to working with you and being of service to you in your search for the ideal home or investment.